feels so bright. I didn't get much sleep last night.
Hi guys, for anyone I haven't met out there, my name's Dean Williamson. I run an organisation called Primitive. The aim of Primitive is to improve the quality, the impact and practice around youth services and community services in Australia. I'm based in Australia, New South Wales specifically, and to look at how we bring evidence and methodologies from some other fields to bear on young people, making sure that young people in communities are well supported, well resourced, and generally good things are happening and people are getting the most out of their lives. That means that I do a few things. I do a lot of supervision of youth workers and community workers, looking at supporting them, what their outcomes are, how they're innovating around their practice to achieve their outcomes better and better all the time. I also do leadership coaching for managers of organisations around similar things. And I obviously do a lot of training as well of youth workers, community workers, parents and stuff like that too. So my overall mission is to make sure that our young people are developing as well as they can, I think, and really supported from childhood right through to adulthood in their development, and making sure that that goes really well so that everyone has the most opportunities that they can. I'm writing a book about it, so I'm not going to tell you too much else because I'd like to sell some copies of my book. Hopefully that'll be out at the end of next year. So I started this weblog. I've never done this before. It's new for me. I have a new webcam which seems to be trying to autofocus a lot. But I started this weblog to track a process that I think I'm going to be involved in for a fair while, which is actually starting a youth centre from scratch. So I've called it From the Ground Up because literally we're at the very, very start of what's probably going to be a very long process. And I thought it'd be a good way for me to learn from my practice, so that I can do this better in the future. But also there's not many good resources around about how to do this stuff really well on the ground and really hands-on. You know, a lot of the theory around youth work tends to be fairly high level and pretty disconnected from being on the ground kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be interesting to track a process that shows what it's like to start a youth service, to look at how you might justify a youth service and its existence and why people would give it money, and also look at how sort of planning for outcomes with a local community will turn into a mode of service provision that might hopefully look like some things that haven't happened before, which would be really cool. So the youth centre that I'm talking about is, well, the fictional youth centre at the moment that I'm talking about is actually in a community called Cabarita Beach, or Boggangar, up on the far north coast of New South Wales. Basically as far north as you can get. It's right near Tweed Heads. It's a fairly isolated kind of community, but there are some really passionate people who want to see the young people of their community supported. So I chose this to work on. I'm kind of lucky I can say yes and no to the things I choose to work on. And I chose this particular project because they've had a youth centre in the past, and Nick Aldrich, who's the guy who's leading things up there, is a really sort of passionate, inspiring guy, and he's got a lot of people from the community on board with him who want to see young people supported. So that sits fairly well with my approach to things. I like everyone taking responsibility for the welfare of the people around them. So I'm really interested in working in a community like that to help establish a youth service that might do some different, innovative kind of things. We're literally at the start of the process. There's no building, where Nick's having a few of those discussions at the moment. There's no funding. And so part of my role with this project, I think, will be to look at how we can collect enough evidence to say, hey, look, maybe this is needed, and also enough evidence of what we're going to do to say that actually this is worth investing in for outcomes. And Nick's at the point where he's just setting up the board, so I haven't met the board yet. It should be interesting. I don't know who they are. But I'm really committed to seeing this process at least start. I have no idea what it's going to look like. It could go for 2 months and we can't get over some roadblocks, and that could happen. But it could. My hope is that at the end of a year or 2 years, we'll actually have a really functional youth service. Hopefully, a building to do it out of into the community, but also looking at how that youth service is also involving the community in a really, really tangible way to support all the local young people. Hoping we'll see some population shifts in data, so not just, okay, there's one young person who's gone on to get a job or one young person who's feeling better about themselves, but, you know, hopefully we can start to see some progress over time for the existence of the youth service. And that's a long way away. There's a lot of steps to go through before we get there. Started mapping out the process, sort of. That's a very, very rough sketching up. That'll turn into documents of consultation and vision statements and everything at some point, I'm sure. So the purpose of this weblog is to just sort of, hopefully on a weekly basis, track what my process is, walk through the stages of what's called getting to outcomes, which is where the results-based accountability movement came from. So following a process that's about collecting data, sort of looking at what our vision is and what are the kinds of ways we can start achieving that vision with a youth service, and what would a youth service look like if it was really achieving that vision too. So it should be interesting. I'll have some really interesting personal challenges. I've never weblogged before. Hopefully I get quicker at all the editing and stuff that makes this happen, because otherwise that could, with my time pressures, that could be a real barrier to getting these up. I also have a baby on the way, my first one, so I'm sort of dealing with what it's going to be like to be a dad after February, so I might go AWOL for a little while, and trying to keep all this stuff in the air while my life's taken a pretty major turn will be interesting. But I hope this is valuable. I hope people come with me on the journey and give me their thoughts and feedback. I'm happy for anyone to ask questions via my website, via my blog, or just emailing me along the way if I can be of any assistance with just some more learning or some things that I think will go better. And I hope this will be a sort of warts and all look at what the process is like, not a warm and fuzzy kind of little promo piece. So I really hope that this turns into something valuable. Yeah. So I think I'll be back in a couple of days. I've already started doing some of the research, and I'd like to talk through some of the research that I'm looking at doing, and also hopefully what the outcomes of some of that are. So hopefully I'll be back in a couple of days with another one. But until then, I hope people watch this, and I hope you get something out of it. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Bye.